Garage sale, picked up a few books, also have an unboxing. In this video, we're going to talk about whether or not these books should be slabbed. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that great stuff that helps the channel. I really appreciate everyone, especially those of you that comment, get that conversation going. Also, follow me on the other social media, Instagram at Bronzeville_comics, at Bronzeville at whatnot at Bronzeville_comics. We do sales every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to be doing frequent weekday sales as well. So keep an eye out for that. If you've not yet signed on to Whatnot, you can use, there's a $10 code in the description of this video. You can use that to get $10 off your first purchase, regardless of who it's with. And also in the description of this video is a link to my eBay store, as well as my email, so if you want to reach out to me about anything. So I went to a yard sale. It was a rainy Saturday, and I had other plans on Saturday anyway. So on Sunday, I saw one yard sale near me. I drove, and as soon as I pulled into the street, I'm like, I've been here before. And I got some good books from this guy. This guy's a collector. I guess they do kind of somewhat frequent yard sales. It was a community yard sale. I went to another multifamily neighborhood yard sale and found nothing. So he was charging $5 a book. So I was a little picky in what I picked up. One book that I picked up, which I thought was pretty cool, is Adventures on the Planet of the Apes, #2. This is the first, the start of the Marvel run. And what's interesting about this book, I don't know if it's the first 4 issues maybe, that adapt the 1968 motion picture, the original film with Charlton Heston and Kim Hunter, Roddy McDowall, Morris Evans, etc. Which is funny because just 2 nights earlier, I had watched that film with my daughter. She had never seen it, so it was kind of interesting to see. If you've never seen the 1968 Planet of the Apes, I highly recommend it. It is a classic. Now, this book is pretty high grade. There are some spine ticks on it, but the rest of the book is pretty sharp. So I was like, is it worth getting graded? But there's a lot of volatility. Recently, a 9.2 sold for $150. But you go back, a 9.0 last sale was in 2020 for $25. So it didn't make sense to me. The back would need some cleaning. The structure of the book is pretty good. I think it could get a 9.2, maybe even a 9.4. But the book sells so infrequently in that sort of grade that this is the kind of book that would make sense. Definitely in a 9.8 and probably in a 9.6. But it's, a book from, what is this, 1975, I believe. So it is a modern book, but I don't think it would be worth getting graded. So that was kind of the litmus test I did with this book. Then you pick up ASM books when you see them. 198. It's not a key issue, but it is an Amazing Spider-Man under 200. 254, early appearance of the black suit. And then 2 books from this run. Crisis on Infinite Earths is #1. This is a pretty sharp copy, but this happens with that gold ink. I'm not sure how CGC. If you look right at the right there, I think. Where are we? Right there at the star in the 50. There is some minor creasing. This could probably be pressed certainly into the 9s, but again, probably only worth it in a 9.8, maybe a 9.6. It is a plentiful enough book. Then the other book I got in this submission, or in this yard sale submission, that I was definitely considering was Crisis on Infinite Earths #7. This is a sharp copy. There is a little bit of a soft corner down there. It's hard to see through the bag, but the bottom right corner is, yeah, that's soft. That's going to keep it from a 9.8. If this was a solid 9.8 candidate, it would make sense to get it in focus. There we go. It would make sense to submit it as a 9.8 pre-screen. maybe even as a 9.6 pre-screen. A 9.8 is about $140 is what it's going for recently. A 9.8, much more variability, maybe $100, maybe in a 9.6. But again, it's a book that's so plentiful, you really want it in a 9.8 if you're going to get it graded. Because so I spent $5 on the book. If you submit it as part of let's say it's a 9.6, just the chances are it's going to get a 9.6. If you submit it, it's going to cost you, with shipping and everything, about $30. I do my own pressing, so that is not an extra cost. If you have to pay for pressing, now you're talking about something different. So you'd have about $35 into the book. Comes back as 100, might be worth it, but if it's not a 9.6, and now you're putting, even if you put in pre-screen, another $9 on top of that, now you haven't spent the full 30. You only spent 9 plus shipping, so you're about $20 into the book, maybe a break even. I didn't think that it was a solid enough risk. If it had a 9.8 potential and a 9.8 goes for 140, then it's, I think, worth it. But for likely a 9.6, not for that book. Now, the only other book I have here is a book that I got on Whatnot from Erod. Jumped into his show the other night, and this is a book I have at a 9.6. I want in a 9.8. Said it was high grade, so we'll see. I almost cut my pants there. Got to be careful with my knife, because if you look back at my old videos, like 2 years ago videos, I did countdown of the top 10 Marvel and DC books from each year in the 90s. This is the DC book. It's a 90s book, and it wasn't something I collected at the time, because it wasn't something that I was interested in. It's a non-superhero title. So, let's see how sharp a copy it is. So, I got it for a good price. $7 plus shipping, so what, about $12? I had actually bought a couple of these raw when I was making that list, because I wanted the 9.8. I kind of want all those, I'd love to have the keys from each of the 90s books in 9.8s. So here's the book. It's Animaniacs #1 from 1994. This is not their first appearance. Their first appearance is in the Christmas special. And, it does have a bend in the corner. So that is not a 9.8. So we'll probably just throw this into a pile. Maybe I'll put it into my PC. So that is not a book to submit, because if I look at the numbers on this, it is the Christmas special. In a 9.8, this book has a fair market value of $280. The most recent disclosed sale was in January for $189. It has been around $200. So probably about a $200 book in a 9.8. In a 9.6, one sale for $50. So that might have even been mine. I'm not sure. I don't think so. So that is definitely a book, and that is true of a lot of modern books where it's 9.8 or bust, right? It doesn't make any sense. So kind of the thought process that would go into putting a book into get graded for a modern book. Now, older books, my thinking is for books that would fall into the vintage tier, it has to have, I would like it to have a fair market value of about $200, or have some potential to increase in the future. That there maybe we'll see this character pop up in the future, and that will increase the value of the book. Or maybe it's a PC book that I want to save. So usually when you're talking about those, you're talking about keys that you're looking at, are mid-grade copies worth getting graded? Is it worth getting graded in a 5 or a 6? So, for an X-Men key or an Amazing Spider-Man key or a Batman key, those are the kinds of books you want to look at. But for a modern book, you really have to investigate two things. What is the fair market value at different price tiers? Okay. You can get a pretty good idea of a 9.8. Like, for instance, that Animaniacs book sells rather frequently in a 9.8. And so you can get a fair market value at least get an idea, look at recent sales. Now, one thing is when you look at, I look at Go Collect, there's a difference between auction and fixed price. The fixed price almost always sells for more than the auction unless the book has become a hot book. So I always, when I list on eBay, I like to do fixed price and then have some wiggle room if I want to go down in price if somebody makes me an offer. So that book does sell. The Animaniacs Christmas Special in a 9.8 has had how many sales this year? Just 2 sales this year. So it sells not terribly frequently, but the 9.6, there's only 1 recorded sale on Go Collect. 1 from July of 2022 for $50. So that is a book that is obviously not worth getting graded below a 9.8. It's a book from 1994, I believe. Christmas, obviously. December. It's a book from 1994. So there are very few books from the copper or modern age that are worth getting graded below a 9.8. If you're going to look at whether or not a book is worth getting graded for a modern book, how often does it sell, right? You could get a stack of a book that's sold for $150 in a 9.8, but it's only sold twice in the last 3 years, and you have 5 9.8s. There aren't 5 people out there that want the 9.8 potentially. So you have to watch that. Then make sure you look at what's going on in the 9.6. Some books, sure, 9.6 makes sense. But for a lot of them, you're probably worth moving it raw. Now, the other aspect is, do you want it for your personal collection? Personally, for my personal collection, because the books that I bought off the rack, I've kept in pretty good condition. I'm a little bit of a snob in this regard. I would want a 9.8 just because I want to increase the overall value of my collection by having books graded. And so I'm kind of searching for 9.8s. Part of what I do when I go out hunting at shows specifically is I look for books that are potential 9.8 candidates. If it's not a 9.8 candidate, I'll pass on it because I'm really looking to get it graded in a 9.8. There are some folks who like to get like an entire run of books graded in a 9.8, whether it be a mini-series or a long run of books. Maybe you want every Amazing Spider-Man from 300 to the end of the run in a 9.8. Right? Maybe you want all the burnt X-Men in a 9.8. Maybe you want every issue of Secret Wars in a 9.8, or Crisis on Infinite Earths, or Watchmen. Then you really have to inspect the books that you're looking at, and it's a lot easier to do that at a show than online. And the other thing I would mention is the so for instance, I bought that at a garage sale. They were there. The price was great. And even if I sell it raw, at the very least, I should be able to, more than double my money. That makes sense. If it's a 9.8 candidate, great, right? I can submit it, maybe get a 9.8. If not, sell it, move on, and buy a different copy. Even if you're kind of breaking even, as long as you're not losing money on that proposition, it's probably worth it. So let me know what you think about what you're looking for your personal collection for modern books. Are you 9.8 only, or are you willing to take lesser grades, especially for books that are worth less than $100 in under 9.98? Like a 9.6 is worth under $100. What are you looking for in those books? Or do you just want to keep them raw? Plenty of raw collectors out there. However you want to collect is fine with you, and there shouldn't be anybody making judgments on that. Maybe you want to buy every book that had a Marvel value stamp, crack it out of the case, and clip out the Marvel value stamp. If you want to do that, good for you. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for stopping by. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.